as we have been discussing, how one is bound with reference to sense objects. And of course, once a person is bound with reference to sense object, whatever it may be, definitely that person is not going to become free in life. And there has to be option. I'm extremely sorry, what's going on? So don't worry, I have not got coronite, okay? Sorry. This is the life, okay? How things have changed. So coming back, sorry. So once the person is bound by this sense objects. So when we say bound by sense objects, being attached or giving more importance to the sense object than one's own self. I can tell you one more point, that when you say giving more importance, means the sense objects becomes more powerful than the sense organs. So if sense objects becomes more powerful than the sense organs, then what will happen? There will be craving, there will be always a push for the sense organs to get associated with the sense objects. So here is being said, that's why they are being compelled, they are being forced to be with these sense objects, and because of that reason, of course, the person keeps jumping in life. That we saw in the last verse. Of course, I said there is a beautiful verse which is very popular and very hitting. So let us read that popular verse, which is a really very good verse. How these sense objects really destroy us. Here the verse highlights one animal, starting from small tiny honeybee to the biggest called this elephant, and of course the smartest fish, fastest deer, all are being caught because of association of one sense object. Because of the weakness for one sense object, the smartest one is called fish. You know how smart the fish is. The biggest happens to be the elephant. And of course, the tiniest, a bee, the fastest, deer. How they are being cut off because of one weakness. Let us read. And interestingly, this human being are having all the pipe. Okay, that's something really, really bad. And imagine what would be the situation of any human being. Let us read so that it becomes easier. Okay. Sabdadivi panchavireva pancha panchattamapu sagunena baddha kuranga matanga patanga meena bhrunganara panchaviranchita kim ranchita kim. Good. See, he says, look, if you look at Sabdadhivihi, Shabda Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. All the fives, okay? Starting from the sound, of course, the form, Sabda, Rupa, Rasa, taste, Gandha, smell. Sabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So what happens? All these five, what happens? Now, sparsha is there in between, okay? Touch. So all these five, definitely, they are Panchatam Apuhu So Gunena Baddhaha. Interestingly. So if you look at, so all these five definitely are connected to one sense organs. And of course, they are the cause of the bondage. So each sense object becomes the cause of each sense organs. And because of which the sense organs is bound, not able to move. How is it possible? He gives the example, so that through the example it becomes clear, because when we look at ourselves we cannot make out. But when we try to see somebody, it becomes easier, okay? And he doesn't point out any human beings, okay? Shankar is very clever here, very clear. So he gives the very clear example of animals. So what is it? How is it possible? How they are so gunena by its own nature, how they try to trap and they do not take care of everything and you are bound. Look, he first gives it called Kuranga. So Kuranga, Matanga, Patanga, Meena, Bhrungaha, these are the five, okay? So when he says Kuranga, so that means what we need to look at here is, Kuranga means the deer. Deer can move very fast. But the deer has got weakness for the sound. If there is some good music, good sound, the deer forgets everything. So that means here the example very clear. To trap a deer, now the sound, and of course because of the sound the ear is connected to that, the sense organs, here ear is connected to that. Now poor deer is caught. In fact, sometimes they catch the deer by playing very soft musics. In the jungle, if you try to flute and some soft music, deer will get caught, will not move. Because so much attached to the sound, soft sound, that's all. So that means a deer is caught. Deer is bound because of what? Music, because of the sound. Okay, that example is gone. Finally loses its life. Second one, it says that after Kuranga comes Matanga. So Matanga means the elephant. Such a mighty, big one. But this elephant has a problem of sense of touch. Especially during mating season, they trap the elephant in this way. What they do is, they dig a big pit in the jungle and they will keep a, this lady, a female elephant. Now the male elephant will go crazy and finally will fall into the pit. So because of the sense of touch, so even the mightiest animal, you can say, even the biggest in size, strongest, so because of the sense of touch, now the elephant is being caught. Will not have any thinking. In fact, the strongest elephant, they get it, do not train in this way only. They don't feed, they do a lot of things. Then once the that anger and everything comes down, then slowly they will try to train. Lot of things they follow. Then after this comes Patanga. So Patanga means any flies, any moth. So this flies or moth have a problem with reference to light form, sense of light. Anywhere they see light. Now what happens to them? You know better. In fact, in every restaurant and everywhere they keep a light to trap them. You understand? So moment they see the light, now eyes are so much connected, now poor moth or flies are cut. That means only one is predominant, not any other thing. Can you see this point? Then after that comes the smartest fellow called Meena. So Meena is called fish. But the problem with the fish is never satisfied. Always wants to eat. And how it carefully eats, sometimes if you put the bait, will take away the bait and that hook will be left. Very smart, very intelligent. But a fish has a problem, constant problem. Always hungry. Mentally, not physically, okay? That's why any amount of food you feed the fish will eat. That's why they say, like while selling the fish, some people they do, before that they feed so much and automatically it becomes heavier. However, coming to the point, because of the weakness for the tongue, the taste, now what happens? Poor fish also is being caught, destroyed. And finally comes Brunga. So Brunga means honeybee. So bee is attracted towards the fragrance. So wherever there is a fragrance, the bee starts flying, moving. Now, of course, because of that reason, the honeybee also is destroyed. So that means, because of one sense object that is very much connected to their sense, let us say organs, or you can say because of the attachment towards one type of sense object, each animal or each, let us say, creature being attached and destroyed. Now what to talk of human being? Interestingly, human being, we all, human being don't generalize, okay? We all, okay, are having all the five together. Sometimes we are like deer, kuranga. Sometimes we are like matanga, elephant. Sometimes we are like patanga, means any flies or moth. Sometimes we are like meena, fish. Sometimes we are like brunga, that honeybee. You know, sometimes if one also is manageable, sometimes 2, 3 are together. So if we are the mixture of minimum 2, 3 or 4, 5, God knows how many at a time, imagine what would be our condition. That's why if you observe, because animals are having weakness only towards one sense object, they don't have much affliction. Psychological aspect I am trying to talk. Whereas when we have 5 attachments, weakness towards 5 sense objects, we have more affliction. Can you see this point? Because if you observe any animal, whether it's an elephant, whether it is a deer or any other animal, that is a 5 year being talked, we can look at any animal. Either they have one, sometimes maybe two, we do not know. We need to really analyze in details. That's why they don't have that affliction, they don't have sorrow. That's why they are called as a Vimukta. The other name of the animal is called Vimukta. They are free. In fact, they are being forced with their prarabdha. That's why we never punish animal, even if an animal kills somebody. Because they don't plan. There are stories, but really they don't. So instinct, that is called their instinct. They work with their instinct. However, here with reference to human being, all the 5 are together. And when all the 5 are together, now the person when looks at one object, sometimes looks at in that object 1 or 2 or sometimes 3, 4 or 5. Can you see this point? So wherever the person finds more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that sense object becomes more closer, more attractive for the person. Can you see this point? So that sense object becomes very close and powerful. Or you can say a person, whether man or woman, makes no difference. A person becomes more attracted, more close towards that sense object. Wherever he or she finds that more number of sense organs are dependent. That's why you can see all these nowadays new products are being sold with a great packaging. At least through the great packaging, moth, you understand? Straight eye, you are caught. And soft to touch. And many other factors. That's why the packaging plays a big role. However, let me not get into details. That's why he says, what is to be done? He goes one step ahead. Let us read. Dosena tibro vishayah Krishna sarpa visadapi Besham nihanti bhoktaram Dashtaram chakshusapyapyayam दोषे धर्म क्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे दोषेण तीव्रो विषयः. See, this is how that, okay. Krishna sarpa vishadapim visham nihanti bhoktaram drashtaram chakshusapyayam. So when you miss the tune, it goes other way around, okay? He goes one step ahead. Look, because in India, we have different type of cobra. So people think cobra means king cobra, not necessarily. Among all the cobras, okay, there are different cobras, but here is being brought Krishna Sarpa. So Krishna Sarpa means black cobra. Sometimes they are water cobra. Water cobra generally black. And they are really very furious, dangerous. And of course there is a little bit different type of cobras are there. Really, you can, this cobra family is a very big family. And among them, this king cobra is very safe. That yellow color king cobra, when it stands very nice, wow, so nice to see. And generally king cobra doesn't bite. So wherever you see king cobra, don't get frightened, okay? In fact, it's good. Very rarely king cobra bites, very rare. Whereas this black one, fellow chases you. because they are most insecure, okay? King cobra is not insecure at all. That's why the job of the king cobra will stand, look at you perfectly. Then after looking at you, if you do not give the way, then will make continuously will do for some time. So that, okay, give me the way. If you manage to give the way, and if the king cobra finds, okay, the way, target, stuck, will go out. Will never bite. Whereas this other cobra, especially black cobra, that fellow will, this side, this will not so wide, this side will come up and not able to make out anything, and it becomes easier to bite the leg. You understand? Most of the snake only bite on the leg. And that fellow wants to bite and run ahead. That's the job. So here he uses very nicely. If you look at any cobra, especially black cobra, definitely how this black cobra, if the black cobra becomes poison, and of course because of Bisham, okay, let us look at Krishna Sarpa Vishar api Bisham Nihanti Bhoktaram. So if a Krishna Sarpa, a black cobra bites you, and because the poison is inside your body, then only the one who, Bhoktaram is the one who consumes indirectly, it's part of your system, then only the person who is being beaten up by the snake will die. So by touching snake, by seeing snake, you are not going to die. And even if it bites, if the venom doesn't enter properly, that's why we look at whether the main tooth, there are two teeth, okay? If that has gone inside or not. If that has not gone inside, we don't bother. And most of the snakes, they don't, because unless they are really angry and do this thing, that's why it will be like this, okay? Two. Very nice, like this. Unless that too gets in, one need not bother. So in short, I am not teaching here about snake, okay? Snake bite. Point is here, unless the venom enters inside, the person is not going to die. But we all are afraid of this snake. How scared we are. We need light, we need stick, we need many things. If somebody says snake, everybody starts searching and hitting and whatnot. But we forget that, look, this Vishaya, sense objects, are worse than this Krishna Sarpa, black cobra. They are more dangerous than this black cobra. They are tivra vishaya, tivra doshena. So they have a bad impact in us. How is it possible? He says, drashtaram chakshusha api ayam. When a cobra, black cobra, bites you, then only you may die. You may. It may affect your system only if it bites. Whereas, just by seeing the sense object, you are affected. Can you see this point? That's why we say very beautifully. Today I was trying to look at this point. Whatever you cannot hear, whatever you cannot see, that becomes your object of weakness. Whatever you cannot hear and cannot see, that becomes object of weakness. Now I have something here, okay? Now there is curiosity or not? What is that? Because you cannot see. If you see, do you have any issue? Same thing also, whatever you cannot hear. If some sound I create or background some noise comes, automatically that becomes weakness. And in life, we don't see many things, even if available. We don't hear many things, even if it is loud. That's why we have only weaknesses, nothing else. Can you see this point? How? Let us look at the next verse, okay? Vishaya samahya pasyadyo. See, Vishaya samaha pasadyo vimukta sudstyajat sayava kalpate muktaihi nanya sastra vedyavi. Says, look, if you want to say the pasa, so pasa means a noose actually. So when a rope is made up of noose means once you are cut, your hand or leg or anything is being cut, and especially if your neck is cut, you are finished. Where you cannot get out, a trap, let us say. That is called real pasa. That's why we say, always Yamaraja comes with the, pasa. Okay, push, hooks it and takes it away. Okay, Yama pasa. So from whom you cannot really escape. So he said, look, among all the pasa, this is called Mahapasa. So Mahapasa means the great news. Means from where you cannot escape. You may get escape from our Mrityu, Yama Devata, but not from this. Okay. In fact, this leads to Yama. Okay. And what is that? He says, Vishaya Asa. So the desire for the sense object. So when I have desire means binding desire, okay? When I have binding desire for any sense objects, definitely I am bound. That's why he says it is very difficult to really manage this. That's why what you need to do here is the one who is vimukta. Vimukta means the one who is free from this. And free from what? This Vishaya Asa, hopes or desire towards the sense objects. Because you remember, life is nothing called hopes. And hopes is nothing but is a very, simplest form of desire. And when it becomes complex, that nobody knows. If the hopes remains hopes, no problem. But the simplest form of desire, when it becomes complex, that hopes creates a lot of issues in life. Yes, no doubt in it. When there is nothing, hopes actually makes the person to survive. If there is no hope, people will collapse. Mind needs something to hold on to, nothing wrong with it. But the hope should be simple, not complex. But what do we do? Always we make it more and more complex without our knowledge. Can you see this point or not? So here is being highlighted. It is very difficult, difficult to really create a distance. And of course, the one who is able to make it, that person is fit for mukti, for the liberation. If the person is not able to make it, no, I am a very learned person. He says, look, not any other person. Even if the person, Sarshastra Vedi, the one who knows 6 schools of philosophies, the one who knows all things in details. Remember, maybe we will be able to give good discourse. Maybe we will be able to help others, possible. But when it comes to oneself, will be failure. That's why here one has to work on hopes. Let there be hopes, but the hope should not be complicated. The moment one discovers that hope is getting complicated, complex, better to learn to create the distance. Along with the hope, one should not get drowned. But the problem is, most of the time people get drowned with the hopes. The beautiful example, if you look at, especially those who go for betting. This is a good example I can share. If you put one, it will be double. Okay, there are bettings. Okay. So what they do, whatever they will lose. In fact, the first betting started officially. It was done by in Mahabharata. Okay, that's why the disaster came. So if you put one amount, it will be double. If you win, it will be doubled. And I have seen many betting people directly during that time. In fact, I have tried to talk them. This is the same answer I got. Only they live with the hopes. They become so addicted, they give up everything, hoping that next time I will get it. Next time I will win it. And that next time never comes. So that is what called hope should not be complex. Hope should not be addiction. And hope should not be your only source of survival. Can you see this point? If you are hoping to survive, or your hopes, let us on your child, on your husband, on your wife, on anything or anybody, if that is only cause of your survival, or any object or anything, definitely you are making your life complex. A hope we need. Without hope we cannot relate with the person. I hope also, please understand that at least I hope that you are listening to me, okay? I am very practical. Please, if you don't do that, tomorrow there will be no class. Then terrible, okay? So I have my hopes. But remember, because I have hopes, that does not mean that I will expect that you will all understand whatever I say. It's wrong, because whatever my teacher taught me, I didn't understand that time. It took long time for me to understand. Still I am understanding. So when it happened to me, how can I expect that you will understand it now and here? Each one has got their own mind, own samskara. It takes time. So what I am highlighting here is, each one of us has some hope. But I only know about my hope, how deeper the hope is, how dependent I am upon my hopes. Can you see this point? So that's why, if I am not able to create a distance between me and my hopes, definitely I am not going to survive either. I cannot be a free person. I am definitely a bound person. Okay, how is it? But you know me, I am fine. I was fine, not I am fine. I was fine. How is it possible? Once upon a time, you understand, I was very good. So I can tell a joke, okay, seeing some married people here. So I can say, yes, once upon a time, I was very good. After marriage, don't ask me. Especially these men are very happy, okay? Swami said, don't cut this sort of joke. I should cut this joke to your wives, okay? What they will say? They will say exactly the same thing. Swamiji, always the problem is you are a man, you support them. You should support us. You should understand our pain, okay? Starting with, we lost our Gotram. Gotram is the lineage. We were noun, we became adjective. You understand? And always you project them and you always put them in high place. It's not right, okay? However, joke apart. So once upon a time, I was better. But how is it possible now? I am not. Please read. Apada vairagyavat mumukshun bhavabdiparam pratiyatu mudyatan asagraho majjayate antarale nibruhya kanthe vinivartya vegat. Says beautifully how it happens. Generally, whenever there is some type of dispersion, some type of distance, some type of detachment, that time you are a free person. So he says, apata vairagyavataha. Sometimes we have apparent vairagyam, temporary vairagyam, like samsana vairagyam, okay? Or after food, enough. Or eating the same food again and again, you are tired of that food, you understand? Suppose everyday pizza. I have noticed, especially for myself. Sometimes when I travel and all these things, eating in different houses, then after that I feel like having only nothing else, little rice, dal, lentil and some potato. Or if nothing, at least tair sadam, yogurt and rice, that's enough. So simple. Because tired of eating same, gorgeous food or the spicy and with rich food. Because tongue cannot take, the system cannot take either. So there also comes vairagyam, you understand? This is my point, nothing else, okay? So after eating few days of gorgeous food, heavy food, you are also having dispassion, detachment towards those food, okay? But is that long time or apparently it exists for some time, few days or few hours? Or there is stomach upset, okay? Because you ate one particular food, stomach becomes upset few days. Then after that what happens? After listening to that food, you will say, because you will be reminded about your stomach upset. And the worst thing happens if you have vomited with reference to one food, okay? After eating that food, if you have vomited very badly, that stays little longer. So here he says that when this sort of vairagyam is there, definitely you are free from that sense object for some time. But remember, here also, same thing also, people have some vairagyam with reference to sense objects. But that is not out of understanding or maturity. That is we call as circumstance force the person to develop some type of dispassion. So when the circumstance force a person to develop certain type of vairagyam, definitely that person, what happens? Now becomes interested in liberation, becomes a mumukshu, muktumichu. Now he also wants to cross this ocean of samsara. Enough! I don't want any more. It's like, which example I can give you? I'm not getting good examples, okay? There are many examples, okay, I have to think of, okay? Like once you are being beaten up, you will make sure, no more, okay? I will not do it. It will not happen. Then what happens after some time? Again, as usual. So then what happens? He says, look, but unfortunately, they do try to work on to cross this ocean of samsara. But in between, there is something called, very nicely says, asa becomes graha. So when they try to put effort to really start crossing the ocean of samsara, in fact they start swimming in the ocean of samsara. So in the ocean there are crocodiles. So he uses the word called asa becomes graha. So asa means expectation or desire or hopes. So that becomes crocodile. So as you start becoming relatively free, then what happens? All the desires that was completely submerged, suppressed, once the mind becomes relatively calm, what happens? Starts popping up, coming up. Have you not observed? Especially when you are having lot of problem. Whether it is health issue, mental issue, or relationship issue, any issue which is very critical, financial issue, social issue. During that time, will you have any hope? Only will you hope how to get rid or how to solve that issue. You understand? Still there you are hopeless with reference to that. There will be no other hopes. But once mind becomes relatively calm, all your hopes that is suppressed will start popping up one after another or not. That's why he says, look what happens. Now this desire of crocodile literally drowned them where? In between, halfway. And of course, how they caught? Literally they caught from the throat so that you cannot escape. That's why you can see, once you are being dragged, definitely you cannot get up and you are completely lost, turning begat suddenly. How it happens, you can see. Most of the time also happens to the seeker. As we have discussed many times, whoever becomes a seeker, a mumukshu, there is a spark. Without a spark, nobody can become seeker. Impossible. But to maintain that spark, something is a really difficult job, which we have seen in details in Panchadasya with a technical. That way Panchadasya was a really great text, the first chapter of Panchadasya. However, here what happens, most of the Swamiji's case also, that we discussed that time also. Out of spark they leave house, they really pursue very well. Then after that what happens? Because they don't manage or maintain because of their prarabdha and effort put together, lack of effort and of course prarabdha, somehow they get misguided, somehow they are being trapped or being in a wrong situation, wrong association. So relatively they become protected kind, mind is very calm and quiet. So they enjoy that. Then slowly the desires, this shark or crocodiles becoming stronger. You understand? And the way they catch, now the person is suddenly discovers is nowhere, completely turned around. That happens to many mumukshus. And when it happens to great Swamijis, what to talk of common people. This is the truth, this is the reality. That's why one has to be very clear, very honest in this regard. Because if that is no, if the person wants to know, I know, who am I know what am I doing. Hey, that means please, God said you do not know what you are doing. Because the moment if I say I know what I am doing, that means okay, I am trying to tell my lie, I am going to, or I have told a lie to myself. That's why the honest approach is, really, I do not know anything. That humility. If humility goes out from me at any moment, I am out of track. Somebody said very nicely, when there is no humility, humiliation is waiting for you. If there is no humility, don't worry. After some time, humiliation is waiting for you. However, if this is the case, let us read the next one, okay? Visayakshyagraho yena subiraktyassina hatah sagacchati bhavam bodhe param pratyuha varjitah. Very nicely. Again it says, look. So how to handle this? Because as you said, this crocodile not going to leave me, and this Vishaya, the sense objects are always available as I keep moving it. But don't you think that is very difficult to manage? He said, no. Vishayaksya graha yenam subiratyasina hatah. So the one, he who saha gacchati bhavam bodhehe param. That person is able to or will be able to cross the ocean of bhava sindhu, the ocean of samsara, and that too pratyuha varjita, free from all obstacles. And who is that person? The one who does hatha, the one who slays, one who destroys, one who cuts. How? Subiratyasina, asina, asi means sword. Sword of what? Dispassion, a mature dispassion. So that means whenever any sense object, because remember, as we grow, there will be more sense objects at our disposal. If nowadays everything is globalization, it's a global village, it's another disaster. Suppose if you are in a cave, in the Himalayan cave somewhere, there is not much distraction for you. Because hardly distraction is some bear, because that will also once in a while comes to get some warmth from you, you understand? Or small things, that's all. As you come down, you will have more and more distractions. And moreover, more and more you are engaged, you will come across more sense objects, different type of sense objects, complexes. So when you come across all these things, definitely, if you are not clear and careful, it becomes easier to get carried away. So that's why it is being highlighted. The more you are engaged with reference to sense objects, the more you need to have mature dispassion, not ordinary dispassion. People have dispassion, I don't see, I don't want money, you understand? So when I say I don't want money, then what happens? Deep within, I discover there is no money with me. I start cursing myself. Hey, look. I will give you a beautiful example of a person. With due respect to the person. So the person still is a great person, alive. So if you give something to him, those days, he will be least bothered. I have seen it. Whatever you give, in fact, one person, I cannot forget that, one person gave a pen that was golden pen to him. So that, this Swami can, sorry, Swami also came out, okay, this Swami, okay, no problem, it has come out for correcting. So this Swami can write it, okay. And he didn't bother, okay. In fact, I noticed in one day or next day, he handed over pen to somebody. So when I saw this thing, so in fact I asked the person who gave, because I was there, I said, hey, did you tell that Swami good pen for you? Yeah, I had informed. I said, okay, fine, that means great. And later on also I have seen the person giving away, okay, he did not bother anything. Fantastic. But that Swami later on became very crazy to hold a position of organization. So how to look at that? So that we call here as, you need to have matured dispassion, not frustrated dispassion. What happens in our life, if I am frustrated with something, now I will have dispassion related to that person or that object, and those dispassion is not matured, called that is called frustrated. For example, in a relationship, let us talk. Suppose I am tired of a man, or I am tired of my father or mother because of some reason or other. Now what will happen? In my life, I cannot, if I am tired of my father, I cannot tolerate a man. If I am tired of my mother, I cannot tolerate a woman. This is the truth. So that means what? Now this frustration, can you see this point? Now I am dispassionate, completely dispassionate with reference to man or woman. Because I am frustrated with my father or my mother. This is a very psychological aspect I am trying to, not necessarily all the time to prove, okay? It also has its own variations. Just example sake I am talking. So that means what? Because I am frustrated with something, now related to that, I will have a lot of dispassion. But all the dispassions are not mature, it is amateur. Can you see this point? That's why a mature dispassion is not visible. If your dispassion is visible, that means it is not mature. If your dispassion is visible, definitely it is not matured. That's why being dispassionate, you need not be rigid. If there is any rigidity in your dispassion, definitely you are not matured. So here you need maturity. So with this matured dispassion, you need to deal with sense objects. Can you see this point? Because you cannot run away from the sense object, can you? If you observe present day, if you open anything, whether it's a newspaper or television or this, that, everything pops, everything comes. The moment you see pizza, you start thinking, okay? A child goes crazy with the fragrance and whatnot. So there is the eyes involved, there is a tongue involved, except touch, okay? Smell also, you imagine your smell. What I am trying to say is, not earlier days, now sense objects are available in front of us. More and more. You cannot run away. Even if you go to the caves, there you start fighting. That's why you need to develop matured dispassion. Not running away from sense object or anything. So he says beautifully, whenever there is sense object in front of you, which makes you to get attracted towards that, you don't have to run away. You don't have to fight for it, but use your matured dispassion. So how to use your matured dispassion? Seeing the limitations of it, we'll see later on. The more you start visualizing the limitations of that person or object, like pizza is very good, especially all this branded pizza. But God knows when does it come, because only branded pizza advertisement you go crazy, okay, not home pizza. Because once you make home pizza, you know what the difficulties, then you will not feel like making it, okay. Only you will make when people are there. I'm sorry to say. Nobody makes home pizza for one's own sake, unless you are crazy. Only when people are there, then only you make home pizza. Because to make that oven ready, appa, how much difficulties. Okay, coming back to the point. So you are crazy for only this branded pizza, those advertisements. But this branded pizza has got more limitations than home pizza. So the more you look at the limitations of pizza, for example here, now definitely you will not go crazy for pizza. Okay, if everybody is demanding, let us have pizza, that's all. But you don't go crazy. So that is how every moment you need to have mature dispersion to handle the sense objects. And it is a continuous process. Can you see this point? Neither you can close your eyes, nor you can open your eyes. And how it will be possible? Don't worry, we'll see tomorrow. Please close your eyes. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.